When, whenever I see this picture right here of this mountain range and that city right there, I think about how let me get it back. I think about how I was having pig iron being brought down, or I was having the steel. I had the steel exchange rate where people could. Well, I did these things where people could. I would smelt their iron for them, or I would. I was buying up iron for my cruise line and my cruise ships, and also there was iron from the mine, and also workers could also mine on the side and stuff like that. So I had this deal where and I was having iron brought in from all these mines, and some of the iron ore, some of the iron plates that were coming in, some of the bricks, a lot of the bricks weren't the right, were coming out not the right metal content or the right whatever. So my people were having to have to add other stuff to make it a better quality iron or something like that. I forget exactly what it was. There was something about it where some of them weren't exactly right. And I just think about the whole fiasco about how like and also about like the tree. People my people were sending out order slips and also catalogs and stuff, and people could order a tree from the catalogs. They could order any tree they wanted practically. Pine tree, oak tree. You could order seeds, and there's a price for the seed. And there's also a price for whole trees, basically. And you would pick the length. There was a couple different sizes of trees that I was willing to ship, or my people were willing to ship. And so people could actually order a whole tree, and it would be shipped to them, and everything else like that, no matter where they were, or something like that. We had some fun things where and some really big trees that didn't exactly. And I think the trees were somewhat guaranteed that they'd be living or something like that by the time you got to them or something like that, or your money back or something. And people were ordering trees, and sometimes the trees didn't live. And anyway, though, it's all complicated. I forget, it's a long time ago. But every time I see that picture, I always think about the pig iron that was being shipped back, and and then it had to be resmelted and reworked and everything else like that into better things. And I forget which way it was going. I think it was going from the mine to there and stuff like that. But back in the old days when I was building my ships, when I was building when I was building the Titanic and Leviathan and all these other ships, like I said, I mean, it took a lot of iron to build those ships on some of those, especially some of the battleships, because the hulls were so thick and there was so much metal involved. But yeah, but it was all brought in, and people all contributed and all that other stuff. And for my, and it was also like, what else am I going to do with all the iron? We had a lot of iron ore and iron, so anyway, so I put it in ships and stuff like that. And I was like, well, it's not going to go anywhere. Anyway, and then some of my ships got sunk and stuff like that. But anyway, whatever, it was a long time ago. It was history. But I always think about that thing. And think about the order slips and everything else like that. Ah, good times, It was a long time ago, and, most people don't remember it. I miss my people every day. I miss all my workers and all my things. I mean, those were the days back then. We were working hard and doing everything else like that. And oh well, nowadays, I miss old days of steam power when I was on top. I was king of the world. I'm still king of the world anyway. Whatever. Yeah, that was back in the old days when I had to be careful, and we were trying to do something epic and record breaking and all new. And when we were first started thinking about doing the Statue of Liberty and everything else like that. It's history. You know, God, those were different times back then. It was really different. And and the looks on people's faces, how they could order a tree, like, we got a tree, we ordered a whole tree, and people, because you could order a paper tree, you could order a pine tree, you could even order a palm tree, like, it didn't really matter. My people would ship anything, and people were like, we ordered a tree and it came, and like they get this tree, and they were so ecstatic about the fact that they got a tree or something like that, shipped all the way from someplace. They could order trees from around the world, so you could get a tree from. Um, I think you could even order the tobacco plants and stuff, but they were hard to grow, and they usually died. But But just people were always like, we got our tree, and stuff like that. They would plant their little tree in the backyard. It would be like a spruce or something like that, or even an oak tree. It didn't really matter, and they were all ecstatic about how like the trees would come all the way from England or all the way from wherever, and they'd be shipped on a boat and then a train, and it'd go all the way up to them in the middle of nowhere. They would have their tree, and. I would just laugh about it when I saw them talking about the tree and stuff like that, and I loved it, about how they were able to order a tree because there was these white sheets. I think the white order forms. There'd be this sheet, and it was a white sheet, and it would have printed words, and you would just check the box off, and then your tree would be shipped or your item would be shipped and stuff like that. It was back in the old days, and it would go by carriage or wagon or boat. It'd be shipped by wagon or train, and then it would be put on a boat, and then it would go on a boat, and it would go. Some of these things would sometimes go all the way from like Europe or even Africa or somewhere, anywhere, and it'd go all the way to wherever, and then it would be shipped on that boat and moved all the way up, and brought in, and then, it'd go all the way up into the mountains, and then, some weeks later, and I always guaranteed the parcel or something like that, or another one would be shipped or something like that if you didn't get your tree and all that, and also like people would be sent out there to make sure that they didn't get it or whatever, what happened to it, and stuff like that. It's all complicated, it's all in the past, but I remember those days. And people were always ecstatic because like they would just see this picture of a tree in a book, and sometimes some people would be like, I wonder what that is. Oh, it only costs like $5 or only costs like 25 whatever dollars, and they'd be like, huh. And they just check off the box, and then they'd put in the slip, and and they would mail the slip. And the slip would be mailed, blah, 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 blah. They would put in their their address or whatever, and stuff like that. And then, like, some weeks later, months later, parcel, and there would their little tree be, little tree, all the way from wherever. And I remember them talking about it and stuff like that. And it's like, yep, trees from around the world. And other people were like, do you know how far that tree had to come to get to us? And it's like, yeah, well, I mean, I'd ship anywhere in the world. Sometimes even by aircraft. One tree for you, sir. sometimes it would be even be shipped by aircraft. They'd be the stuff would be loaded up, and then it would be loaded on aircraft and. And so anywhere. I think I might have been one of the first services to offer around the world shipping, or shipping anywhere in the world, because my people, I had mining and I had camps and I had people anywhere in the world, so my people spoke many languages, so and you translate or whatever, anyway, it's just this epic thing a long time ago, and it was just really cool, and people would talk about how they got a tree from wherever, and so Lusifer Starline, I was just happy with just how happy people were, really, and just how people were always so amazed. They could go anywhere in the world. They could have things shipped to anywhere in the world. They could mail to anywhere in the world. They could send post or letters anywhere in the world, and even call anywhere in the world. And that being one of the people that was providing those kind of things is what really. I was just happy just to provide it. But yeah, a lot of things became because of it and stuff like that. But it was because, my people were basically worldwide. And and all that. So, I had trains and ships and aircraft. And my aircraft could go anywhere in the world. So, yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it was really neat. And plus, sending aircraft to check on my ships. Like, where is the ship? It's got to be out here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Always to check up on lost ships or ships that hadn't reported in, or even had problems or whatever. Because the communications weren't always bouncing anywhere in the world. So yeah, I mean, it was a long time ago, but Lusifer Starline, and it was just really cool. For the 90% of my existence, like, everything was just awesome and amazing and cool, and people were going anywhere in the world for the first time, and even spending like $5 or 50 cents, and you could you'd get on a carriage, you would go by carriage, and you would stay at one of my hotels, like the LS or White Star hotels, and then and usually, and that's another reason why the white buildings and stuff was kind of like one of those things, because like, where's the White Star Hotel? Oh, it's white. Oh, there it is, right there, and it's this big white building, and stuff like that. So everyone knew that was the White Star Hotel and stuff like that, and all that. And those were white buildings and stuff like that. It's Lucifer White. It's White Star. Anyway, and then they would go, after they went by carriage, they'd go by train, and then they'd get on a ship, and then eventually get on another carriage, and then maybe go to another train, and then it'd be somewhere like in Mumbai. No, not Mumbai. They'd be somewhere like in like Africa or China or wherever, and and just like thousands or millions of miles away from where they were, and they could even go by train for a long way and then take a shorter boat ride and stuff like that. And being part of that was just, I was just, I mean, and all the glowing reviews on how happy people were, and even being able to go anywhere in the world in 17 hours, that was, supersonic. So, yeah, it was cool. Yeah, that's what made me, and Lusifer Starline. So anyway, it's all in the past now, and eventually, I took my money, and like I say, I bought one or two countries, or three or a couple countries, bought some land, bought some more land, bought some even more land, and eventually I was buying whole countries, and I bought like America, and then named it. So yeah. And also bought other countries, and actually eventually sometimes even gave up other countries, because what do I need all those countries for? Like, that's why there's stars on the Kremlin in Russia. It's like, well, I don't really need Russia, so